The paraglider flies no less than viteza minimă de zbor a parapantei este
30.
minimă.
20 la 25.
25.
Minimum speed is 24, approximately 24 kilometers per hour. That's when you're like you're pulling the brake super low like Catalin. He likes to keep the glider super low here on the brakes. Okay? But what's happening behind the paraglider when the glider is like super slowed down?
When it breaks.
The air that goes on top of the glider and below the glider, and it goes in the back of the glider because the glider is very slowed down here. Yes, the air goes dirty behind the glider. Okay? When the glider is slowed down at minimum speed, you're taking off on a minimum speed. Okay? The glide ratio of the paraglider is gonna be this. Okay? This is the ground. Here. So this is minimum speed. If you're gonna fly with your hands up, like I did the first drawing, like this, your paraglider will go where?
Further.
You saw me taking off yesterday without touching the brakes, and the glider went all the way far away. Okay, this is trim speed. Trim speed is the speed of the paraglider that's flying. The paraglider is flying at trim speed as how the producer made it on the computer. True? When the paraglider is beautiful like this, her shape is perfect, there is no more dirty air behind. So the air goes beautiful on top of the glider and flies out here. It's very small amount of turbulence behind the glider. Okay? And the glider can nicely fly far away. Okay? That's what you want, no? You want to take off and fly far away. But this means how many k's an hour?
25.
Yes? That means when you raise your hands, you lean forward, you accelerate, head forward. Don't worry, you're not gonna fall on your nose.
Except me.
You're not gonna fall on your nose because you have your brakes in your hand. If you feel like you're falling, you brake. When you brake powerful, what's gonna happen with the paraglider? The paraglider will move behind like this and will stop you, right? From hitting the ground with your nose. If you're pulling here the brakes, but if you fall and if you pull the air lines like the air risers like this, the paraglider will fall in your head like this. That happened.
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as the paraglider is on top of your head, you release the ace. Finish. Release the ace. You keep the air risers in your hand just to help the paraglider go up and release, up and release, and then I have the brakes. Okay, if I fall here, I can brake the glider, put the glider behind, use it in your advantage, right?
Yes.
Use it in your advantage. You, your harness, the paragliding lines, and the canopy, everything is one aircraft, okay? It's not only you there trying to fly with something hanging behind you. If this is not perfect position, perfect speed, perfect everything, perfect, it's not gonna fly. And I don't need you to take off 3 times before you take off. Understood? Like most of you. Running faster than the paraglider. There's no way it's no way. It's no way you're gonna fly without the paraglider, right?
No.
Exactly. It's true?
Yes.
So I want you to be part of the aircraft that you want to fly with. Okay? Like this, it's true. Like our school hill is just like that. How can you fly if you're doing the minimum speed? You're just gonna run here all the way down. It happened already, no? Some of you know. Okay? So if you really want to fly off the school hill, you'll definitely need to accelerate and fly hands up. Okay? Let's see if we use it or not. So the paraglider is flying because you are doing what?
We are running.
You are running forward, yes? Your head is here, your body is leaned forward, your legs are behind, and your hands are up. Right?
Genunchi îndoiți?
Genunchi doiți, dar nu așa. Așa. Nu așa. Okay? This is the correct technique for takeoff on a paraglider, and this is the correct technique of takeoff on a paramotor. You can take off like that as well, but this is not correct in paragliding, because here you need to be hanging over the chest strap, so the harness goes here underneath your ass during the takeoff run. And by the time you are here flying, you should be able to sit comfortable with your hands here and like this into the harness. From here, it's just a transition, a small transition to get into the harness position for sitting here. Okay? But if you're running like this, the plate underneath your ass will go up, the straps here will cut your balls. Okay? Everything goes super high. If the plate is here, behind on your back, there's no way you're gonna sit in the harness after you take off. No way. And you're gonna be always hanging like this. That's not paragliding, that's parachute hanging, kind of. Okay? There is a logical, because on a paramotor you're gonna take off like this. You just need to take off straight, because there is a big propeller here behind, spinning, that's pushing you forward, pushing the air behind, back. How can I draw it? And you want this to push you up there. Okay? It's logical. If you do this on a paramotor, we'll put your nose on the ground, right? So it's different. If you see a paramotor takeoff, will be like the way you like to take off now, but the correct paragliding takeoff will be gonna be this one. Okay? This was just a explanation about one and the other. So later on, when you're gonna need to want to take off on a paramotor, you're gonna need to learn the other technique. But now let's focus on the free flying technique. Okay?
Am și o întrebare.
Spune.
E normal să ne
Da.
facem vânătări?
It's very normal to have bruises on your forearm, forearm, and in here. By the end, we finish the training, they're gonna be gone. Because when you're here, the risers from the carabiners are just here. Yes? And the risers of the paraglider, they go here, on your arms. If you keep your arms behind, like this, you see? My hand is the triceps is hitting the risers. Okay? You're not gonna have bruises. But if you're forcing the glider like this, then you're gonna get bruises here. So you just twist your hand, lock it behind, so you don't get big bruises, but some small ones, okay? And that's the position you can go. Okay? If you keep your hands here, definitely they will hurt. Of course, they will when you pull the glider up a little bit because the risers are leaning on your hands. But if you force it to take off like this, then all the weight of the paraglider you're carrying on your forearms. But if you're doing the correct position here,
You use the harness.
you use the harness, you use the belly strap here. The harness, it's possible to lean under, to slide underneath your ass. You protect your hands here because you don't need to fly like a bird like this. Here, hands here. Protect your hands from the risers and go for it. Understood? So, the wind or the air. Okay, if we have wind, you're gonna need to run slower. Yes? Underneath the canopy, there is a lot of theory online. Underneath the canopy is gonna be a pressure. And on top of the canopy will be a deep pressure. Of what? The pressure of what?
Air.
Of air, right? How do you think is the value of the deep pressure comparing with the pressure?
Equal.
Proportional.
Cannot be equal.
No.
It's not proportional to what?
Plus to less, like it's minus on the top and positive on the bottom. According to
This is much
like
bigger.
4.
This is much bigger than this. Otherwise, if this would be bigger than this, your paraglider will collapse. Yeah, because it's not a rigid foil. It's a flexible foil. Okay, so this amount of the pressure is much bigger. So the paraglider is pulling you up because of this much more than pushing you up because of this. Okay, understood?
So the big pressure is
Yeah.
making you.
So the paraglider is pulling you up here. Up, 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 up. Okay? And because of the air going down over the canopy, it's deflected downwards. And this meets here and so on. And there is a... Who was that? Who said that every reaction has a Newton? Exactly. Newton was saying that every reaction has a reaction at the same intensity and
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
exactly,
That's the
exactly,
scientific
exactly.
law.
So if your paraglider during the flight is pushing this air down here, then Newton was saying that the air is gonna push your paraglider up forward as well. One more time.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Exactly. Okay?
Acțiunea are o reacțiune de aceeași intensitate cu sensul.
De aceeași intensitate cu sens. And because your paraglider is a little bit bulkier here, convex, yes, here, on top.
Yeah, it is convex.
It's deflecting the air down, it's pushing the glider upwards, okay? And that's some of the things they make the paraglider fly. So it's very important, and very important. You lean forward into these two carabinas and to the strap. You see all these school harnesses we are using, they have a protection here. Except yours and yours, but we're gonna switch today and everyone will have a harness with a protection here. That's why they make the flaps to protect you from leaning forward here on the metal parts of the connection here and then, fuck, it's hurting, okay? That's why they are smartly built. It's Now when we are doing like 10-20 flights a day, if you're leaning there 20 times, it's annoying and it's hurting and it's painful. But afterwards, if you do 1 or 2 takeoffs a day, you don't care, there is a metal punching you here.
Yeah.
100% sure that you are safe. The paraglider is on top of your head. Yes, the position is correct, everything, and now I decide. Now I'm gonna fly. Okay? You can stop. Coming from here all the way to here, you can stop. And I say, I don't like. I don't have enough pressure in the glider. I didn't position myself right. The chest strap went too high. I cannot lean forward. If the harness strap, the one here on your belly, I make it different color. It should be here. If it goes higher here, you cannot lean forward because it's holding you from leaning forward. If it's here, it needs to be underneath your ribs. It's very important to be caught underneath your ribs here. Thanks God, nobody from here has a big belly. So you can feel your ribs here and you can lean forward. Otherwise it would be a problem. Okay? So the harness stripe that you're leaning forward need to be on underneath your ribs here. Okay, it's very important. Good, and then you went to take off and you're flying nicely. During the flight, I told you, some of you flying tandems yesterday with me, I keep a little bit of pressure in my paraglider, right? A little bit. A little bit. How much did I pull the brakes during the tandem flight here?
1 kilo.
1-2 kilo force, okay? Just a little bit, okay? To feel the canopy, to feel what the paraglider doing. You don't need to hold your body weight in the brakes because the harness has 2 carabiners, each one will hold 2,000 kilos. 2,000 kilo here, 2,000 kilo here, 4,000 kilo, and the harness will hold 4,000 kilo as well. So you don't need to hold on anything yourself, not even on the brakes, okay? The brakes are there to steer the paraglider, okay? Right and left, slow or fast, okay? So I'm flying with a little bit of brake pressure, okay? This is called minimum sink rate. Minimum sink rate, okay? This is trim speed. This is minimum sink rate, okay? We're gonna do some talking about everything. What means minimum sink rate translated in Romania? Rată de înfundare minimă. Cum s-ar traduce rata de înfundare minimă? Rata cu care parapanta se înfundă în aer cel mai încet, corect? Rată de înfundare minimă. Minimum sink rate, the rate that the paraglider goes down at the minimum, at the slowest, at the minimum sink, okay? That means it's gonna stay in the air as much as possible. It's transforming what? It's transforming the what? What is here?
Altitude.
The height, yes? This is your engine, right? Right? This is your engine, the height. The height, it's your engine. So it's transforming the height into glide, into distance, right? From a certain 100 meters, the paraglider will fly forward up to 800 meters. If the glide ratio is 8, right? If the performance of the paraglider, the glide ratio, dacă finețea aripii e 8, da? De la 100 de metri înălțime, o să zboare până la 800. Okay? If the glide ratio of the paraglider as the producer build it is 8, it's gonna fly from 100 meters, 800. In which scenario the paraglider will fly from 100 meter high to 800 meter?
The trim speed, the minimum.
In which scenario?
There is no turbulence.
Exactly.
Don't touch the brakes.
Was in which condition? If the wind is 0 and if I have no turbulence, right? What means turbulence? Turbulence means hot air going up or cold air going down, right? If I'm gonna go with my paraglider through the cold air, the paraglider will go where?
Down.
Down, here. If I go through the hot air, the paraglider will go up, right? So these are gonna influence, yeah, this is thermal, lift, and this is sink. Sinking air. If this goes up, something needs to go down as well, right? Newton just told us, right? Cool. And if there is 0 wind, everything is stable, and my paraglider from 100 meters will go all the way to 800, right? Correct. Cool. I'm gonna delete this. I didn't wanna. We are on the way to talk about landing, right? Landing approach, the professional landing approach, not the, because takeoff is how? Takeoff is optional and landing is mandatory, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Either way you're gonna go landing if you took off, right? Harder, faster, or slower and gentle. Some of you managed yesterday to do some very nice gentle landings, right? Slow the paraglider, when I told you slow, stop, brake, stop the paraglider. The paraglider can super gently land. You can't believe how gently it can stop and land, okay? So in a very, very good wind condition, the paraglider will fly you from here to here, yeah? If I have here 10 kilometers an hour, my paraglider will fly how long?
Less. 600 meters.
Exactly. The paraglider will go here to 600 meters. Because this 10 kilometers an hour is cutting my 35 that go forward, right? Trim speed is 35. That's an ugly 5 I did there. So the 10 kilometers will cut me here 20 only. So my paraglider will just fly to here. Cannot go all the way there because it's not about the distance on the ground. It's about the time I do in the air, okay? Why you go paragliding? Not to fly far away from the hill that you need to walk back there with carrying your paraglider. It's to stay as much as possible in the air. That's the cool thing. The coolest thing is to fly like we flew tandem. Take off from here, fly for wherever you like and land there. We are lazy. We are lazy animals, right? Okay, I don't need this for the moment as well. I don't need this for the moment as well. I don't need this. I want to do the landing approach, the professional and beautiful landing approach. Okay? I told you yesterday in a couple of minutes during the training that you need to go down with your paraglider how? Before starting to land, hands
Up.
hands up, right? Why?
Because you brake a little more.
Increase the speed as you land.
Minimum sync rate.
So there is your paraglider, and you are here, hands up, right? Because you want here how much? 35. You go down, oh my god, it's 35. But what do you know?
What do you know?
Yes, what do you know? What can you do with the speed, with this 35 pace?
Try a parabolic landing.
It's quite good answer. Okay? if I'm with my paraglider here, and I start braking a little bit, down to 30. Where does this 5 km/h go?
Brakes.
Important.
In lift.
The left.
So my paraglider is not going to go down towards the ground here. Bam, 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 bam. But it's changed direction to go here. It's true?
Yes.
Slow a little bit. And the glider starts flying parallel with the ground. Right? Because I transform the speed into lift and the glider is flying parallel to the ground. But how much time we're gonna keep flying parallel with the ground?
How much energy we have?
But there is no wind, it's permanent. I mean,
For 1
no. 1 meter.
or no, for 1 or 2 seconds. 1, 2,
The time the gravity pulls down.
2.
Yeah.
As long as the paraglider is losing speed from 30 for 35 from 30, and then if I stay there, the descent rate will be even faster. So I'm gonna hit the ground. I brake a little bit. If I don't do anything else, it's still gonna go fast. Okay? Let's try not to make it too complicated. Okay? And what I wanna do, I'm just thinking a lot about this parallel with the ground. Okay? Try to be focused when you go for landing to have this moment of flying parallel to the ground. Okay? Sometimes it's a second. Sometimes, if you get a little bit of lift here or wherever, it can be for 10 seconds. The glider sometimes goes along the ground here like she doesn't want to land. But eventually she needs to go down, right? So sometimes you're gonna find yourself cruising along the ground here. Sometimes you're gonna find yourself for a couple of seconds. Whoa! And you say, oh, that's cool. I want you to understand that's cool. To cruise parallel with the ground. You don't need to freak out that he said 1 or 2 seconds and the paraglider still has a lot of speed, a lot of energy. Now I need to fully brake. No. I need you to focus on this. I need you to focus on this parallel flight with the ground until you feel the paraglider starts going down again. And then I do the final stop of the paraglider, fully brake, okay? Fully brake down here. And the paraglider, if I stop from 30 kilometers an hour to 25, that's minimum. What's gonna happen with another 5 kilometers an hour? The paraglider will go again up, okay? But that's the minimum speed. 25 is the minimum speed. The paraglider cannot fly slower than 25, okay? 25 k's. This is theoretical. Practical, I think, is much less than this, okay? But if you have here a 5k an hour wind, it's gonna be, you're gonna be able to just stop gently and nicely. You already saw, most of you already made a gentle, nice, smoother landing without needing to run 25 kilometers an hour. Okay? But here, when you feel this parallel flight along the ground that's finished, it starts to go down again, that's the moment that I fully brake and I put my legs down. Okay? I fully brake here, hands down, and I put my legs down. Okay? One leg in front of the other. If the paraglider still goes forward with 20 kilometers an hour, I need to be able to run. If I go landing with 2 legs forward, your other 2 legs cannot go do the job. Okay? Because you only have 2. Okay? I need 1 leg forward to be able to run a little bit if needed. you're gonna see me landing on the point. Wherever I go flying, I don't need to run because I know how to brake exactly, precisely, very precisely, okay? But to be able to know how to brake so precisely, you're gonna need to have 2000 hours of flight experience, okay? So for the moment, you need one leg forward to be able to run when you get here, okay? So when the parallel flight along the ground is finished, I try to slow the paraglider even more to let me stop and put my legs down, okay? Be very focused on this parallel flight along the ground. Very focused. It's very important. Very important, be focused on this parallel flight with the ground for landing. And you're gonna be safe every time. Every time. Either if the wind is 5, either if the wind is 15, either if the wind is
20, 30.
0.
No more than
Understood? Understood. This is very important. Very important to let the paraglider fly full speed as it goes close to the ground. Okay. I took off. I'm flying minimum sink, a little bit of pressure. I go down. I'm not braking because the ground is coming. I need to go against it. Let the glider fly. Let the glider penetrate the air close to the ground. Build this parallel flight with the ground, and then project the paraglider up so the paraglider can stand me perfectly down. Okay? You're the boss. The brakes are in your hands. That's the magic thing about paragliding. The brakes you have there, you do magic with them. You saw me playing yesterday on the glider in takeoff. I'm just using the same 2 brakes that you have as well. Okay? Beautiful. Okay? Very important. Try to remember this and make it happen. It's gonna take maybe from 30 flights, 5 or 10 will be perfect. Some of them not, but you need to adjust. I mean, the paraglider, the lines, the harness, everything is fixed. I told you from the first lesson. Yeah? Everything that's happening here, it's mechanical. Okay? The only adjustable part of the flight here is the human being. Okay? You are the one who takes decisions in a fraction of a second. Okay? Sometimes it's too late if I tell you into the radio. I always try to think it forward. Tell you brake before you need to brake until the information goes there. Okay? But try to do it yourself without I'm just the confirmation in the radio that you're doing it right. I might be looking at him or at him while you go for landing. Okay? So sometimes you're not gonna hear me in the radio. It happened to you with the first flight or the second flight yesterday because someone else was taking off at the moment. Okay? You need to know what you're doing. You know what you have to do. Okay? Good? Parallel flight with the ground 1, 2 meters high.
În general, aterizezi în locuri cunoscute sau dacă nu, la revezi așa.
Dar dacă vine pământul ăla către tine și vezi că opa, că acum s-ar putea să nu-ți folosească, s-ar putea să fie super descendent aici la aterizare, s-ar putea să fie nu știu ce și vezi că vine pământul și trebuie să aterizezi, ce faci? Frânezi, frate, frânezi. If you see the ground coming faster and this is not working, the theory is not working and you start braking and still coming, slow the glider all the way down to stop it. Okay? You want to protect your ankles and your knees by stopping the paraglider. Okay? Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Fully brake the glider when you're landing. When you're sure you touch down, I need your hands all the way underneath your, as long as your hands are. Okay? Cool? But not when you're 5 meters high or 10 meters high. That's gonna hurt. And I cannot do anything about it in the radio. I just can tell you, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you lock down there and say, fuck, now I fall, then you're gonna fall. It's a certain thing. The gravity is a certain thing. Okay? You need to come close to the ground
This is
with quite enough speed,
Higher than
not higher than 1 or 2 meters to do the flare. This is called flare. Da?
really fucked up right now.
And then when the flare is dying, you fully brake and you stop the paraglide. The wind direction during landing. Okay? So my landing field is this. My landing spot is here. My wind direction is this. Ten k's an hour, wind. Okay? One of the paragliders, this is a view from on top. Okay? How can I do the paraglider like this? It's coming for landing here. Right? If the paraglider is going 25, when it's ready to land, the real speed of the paraglider will be according to the ground, will be 15, yeah? 25 minus 10. 15. You're gonna be landing on 15, right? If you go against the wind perfectly, okay? If this is a line that's cutting, what's this line cutting except the takeoff here? Wind direction line, I would call it. Okay? Everything that's this direction. So let me explain what I want to say. If the paraglider is coming from here for landing like this, it's against the wind? Partially yes. If the paraglider is coming for landing from here, it's with the wind, right? It's with backwind. So if this is 25, it's minus 10. If this is 25, is plus 10. Understood?
Yeah.
So every position of the paraglider here, any way you want to draw it, okay? Like this, going here, like this, going here, even like this. Ah, that's almost perpendicular. Even like this. Going there will be 25 minus 10 for landing. Okay? Even if your side, with your side to the wind, but more into the wind than than with the wind, you're gonna be landing safely. Okay? But the difference between this and this, here is 15 and here is 35. It's a very small angle. It's a 10 degrees angle that you're gonna go there. It's gonna go fast, super fast. Very difficult to stop the glider. If you go here, it's maybe a little bit faster than 25 minus 10. It's not the perfect. This is perfect. This is not perfect, but it's still good. And it's still safe. Okay. So the difference between these two is 10 degrees. Okay? You always need to be facing the wind. Even it's a little bit side wind, but facing to the wind. Not with your face, but with your paraglider. Fly against the wind when you go for landing. It's mandatory.
Okay.
It's not mandatory to be perpendicular on the wind direction line, but it's mandatory to be oriented towards the wind direction line, okay? Not backwards. That's gonna be painful. This.
Yeah, you can fall. I
You can twist your ankles,
had a bad
okay?
experience myself.
Okay, with backwind, the paraglider will fly. 25 is a minimum, yes? 25 plus 10. And even if you stop the glider, it's gonna still run super fast, okay? And then you need to have very strong boots and ankles to do a backwind landing. It's not the case for now, because the beginner flights that you do now, they are just straight takeoff and straight. But later on, next week will be very important. Probably we're gonna come back to this drawing again and again and again, as many times as needed, because you're gonna start doing turns, takeoff, turn left, turn right, maybe bigger turns than 180 degrees, turning back towards the slope and the back out from the slope, okay? But always careful with the landing into the wind, okay? I cannot do anything if you don't know who was that, if you don't know which one is left or right. If I'm telling you right in the radio and you're still pulling left, and I say the other right, and then you realize that you were pulling the wrong one, sometimes you're not gonna have time. And if you fly like this and you're gonna do a turn and you come for landing, okay, careful with the right and left. If you don't know which one is right and left, we can put you a red sign on the right hand, and then you know, oh yeah, this is right, this I need to put. We have solutions to everything, okay? Cool? Good.